New Year's resolutions don't work. If you can take one thing away from this video, that is it. But have you ever wondered why they don't work? We know that 90% of people who set New Year's resolutions end with disappointment. They will not have fulfilled those resolutions. And in fact, most people by February have already jumped ship, have abandoned their New Year's resolutions. But we need to understand why they don't work in order to actually cultivate something that does work. It's incredibly powerful to be at the beginning of a year, to go, okay, clean slate, anything can happen now. That's an amazing feeling. And each year, like clockwork, we are surrounded by the media telling us this is it. This is when everything changes. You have the power. And of course you do, but the answer is not New Year's resolutions. And in this video today, I'm gonna tell you exactly why they don't work and what you can do instead. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be part of this incredible community where we talk about everything mindset related, how you can live your best life and be the best version of yourself. So welcome, join us. Let's crack on with today's incredibly important and timely video. New Year's resolutions don't work, and yet we are still culturally obsessed with making them. All of the generic standard media, as well as the social media, is putting pressure on you to make resolutions. And in fact, something like 69% of North Americans feel pressured into making resolutions. And in fact, that is why they reach for a New Year's resolution. The problem is that they don't work and they end up actually taking you backwards. See, the problem is when a resolution doesn't work and you feel that sense of failure at not completing it or not sticking through with it, not staying committed to this faulty resolution, then actually that sense of failure is going to demotivate you. And it may mean that you fall further back from where you were before you made the resolution in the first place, which is why we've got to bust this myth of New Year's resolutions and find something more important. So the number one reason why resolutions don't work is because they're coming from an inauthentic place. If you feel pressured into making a resolution, as 69% of North Americans do, then you're not making it from a place of meaning to you. You're doing it because that's what everyone else is doing. And what we know is that if that's why you sign up for something, then there's no real essence there. And you're not gonna have the drive to stick with it. In fact, the motivation was only to make the resolution, not necessarily for what the resolution actually was. Number two reason why New Year's resolutions don't work is because we haven't invested in the why behind it. That kind of ties into the first one. But if you haven't understood why that resolution matters to you, then it's going to be superficial and you are not going to necessarily take the time or the commitment or have the authentic motivation to follow through with it. Let's take a really common standard New Year's resolution like losing weight. Everybody wants to lose weight. That's a really typical New Year's resolution. Make sure you lose weight in time for, your summer beach bod or whatever it is. Now, if you know anything about setting goals, of course, that resolution of I'm going to lose weight isn't going to work anyway because we know it's not timely, it's not specific, it's not measurable. All the things that we know about goals. By the way, if you're interested in understanding how to make better goals for yourself, do make sure to check out my video because I will talk you through a really simple step-by-step strategy for how to make good goals. But the resolution thing, we're gonna park. So that is a really important reason to understand why resolutions don't work, is that we haven't understood or invested the energy or time into why it matters to us in the first place. So that example of my New Year's resolution is to lose weight. Well, why does it matter to you? What impact is it going to have on your life? Is it from a health perspective? Is it because you want to preserve your health or you want to have more energy? Is it because you feel that by losing weight, you're going to look a certain way and that's going to have implications into your relationships or your career? What is the looking a certain way impact going to have? Do you want to lose weight because you want to feel that you have more energy to commit to other things in your life? And then what are those other things that you need the energy for? Are those actually the things that should be taking the focus, not the losing weight? Now, I'm all for making sure that you're healthy and you're fit. And by the way, if that is something that you are trying to pursue, make sure you consult with a medical professional before embarking on any kind of new nutrition regime or fitness regime, so you make sure that you're losing weight or getting fit in the way that makes most sense for you as a person with your unique setup physically. So there's nothing wrong with that as a goal, except that it's not going to work if you just leave it at that. You need to understand the why. And when we start understanding the why behind what our resolutions are, that's when we start to uncover some really interesting information about our actual drives. So if that is your resolution, then why does it matter to you? What impact is it going to have? What are the benefits that you're going to see there? Let's take another example. Maybe your resolution is to travel more this year. Okay, well, that's exciting. That's cool. That's adventurous. But why? Why does it matter to you to travel more? What is it going to bring to your life? How is it going to affect your relationships or your work or your sense of self or your well-being? And once you know that, well, then why does that matter? Like, if you know that, okay, it's going to make you happier to travel, why is happiness important to you? I know it sounds like a ridiculous question, but if we're not asking these questions, then we don't get that sense of motivation. And we're also maybe not on the right track. When you start to ask those questions, when you start to understand the why, then actually you may realize that the thing that you're going after, you're looking in the wrong place for it. So for example, that travel, if that's your New Year's resolution, is to travel more, and then you start looking at the why behind it, and the why is to escape the boredom of your day-to-day life, well, maybe you need to be looking at and addressing why you're so bored in your day-to-day life. Maybe, okay, the travel would be amazing, but what's going on that you could change or that you could resolve to do differently that may offer the same sense of relief or release, but from a more authentic place? These are questions that need to be asked regardless of what the answer might be, before we can get to the integrity and the truth and the strength of putting ourselves out there by making a commitment to ourselves. A resolve, a resolution is that, right? It's a commitment. It's a promise to yourself to do something. But by going this extra layer, by going deeper and understanding the why, that's where you're going to be able to understand what it is actually that you want to be changing and what impact it's going to have and the benefit it's going to have to your life. When you understand the benefit it's going to have to your life, that's where the motivation to stick with it comes from. The number 3 reason why New Year's resolutions don't work is because we stack up way too many of them. Most people don't stick to just one resolution. They'll have 4 or 5 things that they want to improve in their life. But the pressure that that's putting on you, especially if you haven't done the other work, you haven't done the why, and you have just kind of gone with the trendy resolutions that are out there, it means that you're going to get that sense of failure amplified if you don't stick to it. But it's not always realistic to load yourself up with the burden of, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this, I'm going to change this. Well, what impact is it going to have on you when you falter with one of them? What we tend to see is that there's a domino effect. If you let one thing go, then the other things are also going to be let go. Or you're going to feel the sense of pressure or the sense of obligation or the sense of guilt to yourself that you're not able to keep it up. And that then erodes any natural sense of motivation that you may have had. And what we end up doing there is we end up backsliding. So any progress that we've made, we don't just fall back to ground level, we end up going further back, because that sense of having failed in keeping that resolution, it can have a detrimental effect on your sense of self, your very core. So by filling yourself up with, oh, I'm going to take 5 New Year's resolutions because they all seem great, well, actually, the pressure you're putting on yourself is going to have a detrimental negative effect. You're going to be worse off than if you hadn't made any resolutions to begin with. The fourth reason why New Year's resolutions don't work is because we're grabbing at the trendy ones, right? What everybody else, because there's such pressure to talk about our New Year's resolutions and to go, okay, this is what I'm focusing on this year. It means that we are going for superficial things that are not actually going to have the big impact on your life that you want them to have. And we load that pressure up, like I talked about a moment ago, and we are not going to be able to deliver on them. And when we pick something that is just what we're happy to say to other people, that isn't maybe digging down into the core of who we are, then not only are we going to have the impact that we already talked about of not succeeding on it, not understanding the why, feeling that pressure to make one in the first place, but it's not even going to have the kind of effect that we need it to have. We've just gone for the obvious, right? We've gone for the trending resolution. What is it that everybody's talking about it this year? Okay, yeah, I'll subscribe to that. Now, it may be that everybody's talking about that for a good reason. It may be something to do with your health, or maybe, tech detox. There are good reasons why things like those come up year on year. But the point is, it's got to come from you, from a place of authenticity, from a place of integrity, in order for it to make any kind of difference. So this year, park the concept of New Year's resolutions and instead start asking yourself, why do I want to make a change in my life? What impact do I want to have on the world around me, and how am I going to make that happen? I've got some amazing resources that I've put in the description box below to get you started on that journey. And in fact, if you're interested, if you're ready to embark on your best year ever, then check out the description box and join me for the new course that is going to direct you exactly how to make this year the best year ever, because I want to guide you towards your best life. I want you to live your best self, and it doesn't have to be guesswork. So roll up your sleeves, let's get to work, and if nothing else, don't make a New Year's resolution. Invest in yourself to make the kind of real, authentic changes that you are so capable of making. I'll see you again real soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.